Now, clutter can affect people in so many different ways. And this video really is aimed at you if you're feeling like you're just generally a bit messy. Like generally things are a little bit out of control. You know, you might have overflowing cupboards in a couple of rooms. Maybe you've got a pile in your lounge of paperwork that's been there for weeks that you know you've got to deal with. Maybe your desk is really messy. And perhaps there's just that feeling of overwhelm with getting started, that feeling of like, oh no, like I'm not going to be able to finish it all. And also that resistance to letting things go. Now, as I said, it can be quite a complex issue if your clutter is taking over your life. So just have a think about why that might be, you know, whether you're struggling with depression or anxiety, or whether there's something a bit more complex going on, in which case then perhaps see your GP or have a chat to someone about it who might be able to help you to explore that further. So this is like a general messy clutter type tapping video. So before we get started then, we're just going to tune in and think about how much resistance there is to clutter, how triggering it is. So just take a few nice deep breaths. Just think, okay, how am I feeling when I think about clearing clutter? Is it like really overwhelming? Is it like making you feel really stuck? In which case it'll be, you know, up the higher end of the scale, perhaps 7 till 10. Or are you feeling like you're really pretty organised right now and actually clutter isn't that much of a problem, which would be more like a 0. So wherever you are on the scale, that's totally fine. Just make a mental note of it or write it down. And remembering by tapping along with me, you agree to take full responsibility for your own health and well-being. So we're going to get started then on the karate chop point. Even though I don't want to face the clutter, I accept how I'm feeling about this. Even though the very thought of just starting is making me feel overwhelmed or anxious, I choose to feel calm as I tap here today. Even though I feel kind of paralysed at the thought of just even getting started with decluttering, I choose to deeply and completely love, honour and accept myself. Eyebrow point, all this clutter. Side of the eye. It feels just so, and I want you to say how you're feeling. It feels just so. How does it feel? Overwhelming? Stressful? Frustrating? It's just so. Under the eye. And it's just built up and built up. Under the nose. I don't even know where to start with dealing with everything. Chin point. And when I think about the clutter that's in my home, I just feel so. And just saying how you feel. Maybe you feel upset, just overwhelmed, stressed, anxious, whatever it is. When I think about clutter, I just feel so. Collarbone point. Clutter is really triggering me and activating me at the moment. Under the arm. I feel like it's just taking over my life and my thoughts. Top of the head. But I just don't know where to start. There's just so much. I don't know where to start. Eyebrow point. Just so much stuff everywhere. Side of the eye. It's just really hard to ignore it now. Under the eye. And I know I do need to address it. It's on my mind. Under the nose. But it makes me feel so overwhelmed and helpless. Just say how you're feeling there. It makes me feel so. How does it make you feel? Chin point. Just feels like it's too big of a job. Feels like there's just too much. collarbone point. And I feel so for not being able to keep on top of clutter. I want you to say how you're feeling. I feel so disorganised, stupid, frustrated, angry for not being able to keep on top of clutter. I feel so for not being able to keep on top of clutter. Under the arm. And it kind of feels like it's my fault that it's got this bad. Top of the head. And I really do desperately want to overcome this clutter paralysis. Eyebrow point. I don't want to deal with it right now. I just don't want to deal with it. Side of the eye. I just want it to be done, to like just go away and disappear. Under the eye. And part of me is hurting when I think about clutter. Under the nose. It's like I've tried before and I feel like I've failed. I feel like I haven't done enough. Chin point. Why have I let this get so big and overwhelming? Collarbone point. Clutter is just making me feel so... And insert how you're feeling. Clutter is making me feel really upset, distressed, ashamed, angry, helpless. Say how clutter is making you feel. Under the arm. And I feel this in my body. I feel this in my... And just think, if you had a place where you feel this overwhelm, where would it be? Chest, throat, tummy, head, legs. I feel this in my... Top of the head. All this worry and overwhelm about clutter. So I want you to just stop tapping for a minute and just closing your eyes, just taking some nice deep breaths. Just letting those feelings settle a little bit. You can bring up all sorts of emotions when you tap on stuff. So just being kind to yourself for a moment, just having a little rest. And then just tapping on your eyebrow point, keeping your eyes closed. I'm going to talk you through the points. Just listen to what I'm saying and just think about what I'm saying. So when you think about clutter, what's coming up for you? What kind of memories or beliefs are coming up when you think about clutter? Side of the eye. Just knowing that the inability to deal with clutter can come from so many different areas. It can come from those old beliefs. It can come from not feeling up to it. Maybe your mental health is a bit low. Come from feeling overwhelmed, past history, past memories. Under the eye. Just thinking and asking yourself the question, what part of me is hurting when I think about clutter? Where am I hurting? Where is this wound? It feels open when I think about clutter. And it's okay if you feel upset, just knowing you're safe in your body. It's okay to cry if you need to. Under the nose. I'm just thinking as well about how you've been talking to yourself, your inner critic, perhaps, when you're thinking about clutter. Are you blaming yourself? Are you shaming yourself? What are you telling yourself about the clutter that's in your home, in your life? Chin point. And I just want you to think now about an area of your life that feels quite organised. And if you can't think of anything right now, maybe there's a time in the past where you felt really organised. Just thinking about what that looks like and what that felt like as well. How did it feel to feel like, oh my God, like I did that. I organised something. I organised myself. I created something and it was really organised. Or maybe it's an area of your home that feels really organised. Just thinking about that and just embracing those feelings. Collarbone point. And if you've got any beliefs about clutter or any things that you've been feeling, maybe guilt or shame, embarrassment, overwhelm, I just want you to think, what would I prefer to believe instead? If I'm telling myself and believing that I'm not an organised person, I'm so disorganised, oh my God, why can't I do this? I'm useless. What would you prefer to believe about yourself? I can be organised. I've been organised in the past and I can be organised. I can feel more in control of this. What would you prefer to believe? Under the arm. And now just thinking about if you had just one tiny goal to come from this tapping, what would that be? And it might be just to write down how you feel about your clutter. It might be to just be more aware. Maybe you want to set a slightly bigger goal and think, okay, this coming weekend, I'm going to do 15 minutes. 15 on Saturday, 15 on Sunday, of just starting to work on things. Top of the head. And then just marrying that up with that time that you felt organised. And I want you to bring those feelings into that goal. And just see yourself being as organised as you were that time. And feeling that feeling when you start to perhaps set a goal to start working on that clutter. Just for 10 minutes, 15 minutes. Really small goals. Okay, so back to normal tapping, repeating after me on the eyebrow point. I'm open to being curious about my feelings today. Side of the eye, just being aware of why I feel so about clutter. Just being aware of why I feel so anxious, scared, afraid, overwhelmed, stressed, scared, whatever about clutter. Being aware of why I feel so about clutter. Under the eye. And it might be that I can't deal with clutter today. And that's okay. Under the nose. But I can be more aware of how it makes me feel. Chin point. Curious about it and curious about what triggers me. Collarbone point. Just reminding myself that whatever I feel, it's okay. Under the arm. And I can learn to be kinder to myself when I think about clutter. I can learn to be kinder to myself when I think about clutter. Top of the head. I can give myself space and compassion to be curious about my feelings. Eyebrow point. And it's really hard to tackle big problems. It is really hard. Side of the eye. But I know it's possible because I've done it before. Under the eye. Or maybe I can be really kind to myself and just set those really, really little, teensy goals. Under the nose. Even just starting with writing down how I feel. chin point, or just doing 10 minutes of decluttering. Collarbone point, or just filling up one black sack full of the things that are rubbish that I can't give away and that I can't recycle. Under the arm, and I'll just do what feels most comfortable in that moment. Top of the head, and I choose not to berate myself or listen to my inner critic when it comes to clutter anymore. Eyebrow point, I choose to feel calmer about clutter. Side of the eye, it's just stuff. Everybody has stuff. It's not just me. Under the eye, it's not just me. I'm not alone by any means. Under the nose, and that feels kind of reassuring. Chin point. Maybe I just need to allow myself some time to deal with clutter. Collarbone point, because life just got so busy and it started to mount up. It's as simple as that. Under the arm, but I'm learning new ways to treat my time respectfully and value my time more, value me more. Top of the head, and I choose to celebrate every tiny bit of progress that I make. Last round now, eyebrow point. I choose to focus less on comparing myself to others. Side of the eye. Today I release some of the insert feeling, shame, guilt, anxiety, overwhelm that I've been feeling. Today I choose to release some of the insert word that I've been feeling. Under the eye, because I'm here, tapping, showing up, and I'm doing my best. My best is good enough. Under the nose. I feel like I can manage things if I give myself permission to take it slow. Take it slow. There's no rush. Chin point. Reminding myself that Rome wasn't built in a day. I'm not going to be able to clear clutter in a day. Collarbone point. It's the little actions, the little tiny weeny goals that add up. Under the arm. Just feeling calmer and more grounded in my body now when I think about clutter. Just feeling calmer and more grounded when I think about clutter. Top of the head, knowing that I got this. I can handle this. One day at a time. One step at a time. Okay, and then just stop tapping there. Nice deep breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then just tuning back into that feeling, that activation, how you felt when you measured at the beginning, that resistance to clutter, how overwhelmed it was making you. And just measuring how much that number's come down by. And if it stayed the same or it's only come down by a little bit, that's okay. You haven't done anything wrong. Just try this tapping again. Just closing your eyes, tuning into those feelings, switching out words as much as you can. And I just wanted to finish on a quote there about clutter by Gretchen Rubin, which is, the more that I examine the issue of clutter, the more effort I put into combating it, because it really does act as a weight. And you know, clutter does weigh us down, and you just think if you can just do a little bit every day, just make that tiny, tiny bit of effort into combating it, you'll start to just feel that heaviness drop as you start to feel a bit lighter about it all. So just examining it, just being more aware over the next couple of weeks, thinking about how you feel, thinking about how you're speaking to yourself, and just setting yourself those really, really small goals to get it cleared. Okay, good luck.